Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now this is going to be a fairly lengthy video, but for good reason, right? Okay, so tonight's beer review and chat and experiment is to talk about a few things. So it's mostly about Hawkstone's Black, the nitro stout that's been released by Hawkstone to the general public now. We can buy it. It was first available to the Hawkstonaires, I think. But now we can buy, but we can only buy it in a pack of 12 from Hawkstone's website, which works out at £2.66 a can. Now, Hawkstone straight away, when they went in for the first pour of Hawkstone's Black, straight away served it basically saying, "Do you drink Guinness?" And the guy's like, "Yes." Says, "Do you think you'll be drinking Guinness after you've had this?" So here comes another stout that is using Guinness as a promotional tool. Not that Jeremy needs any promotional tools. He is smashing it out the park. I am such a massive fan of Jeremy Clarkson and Hawkstone. And even though it's a big, you could say it's a hype brewery because of who Jeremy Clarkson is. It may be, but the stuff that comes out of that brewery is banging. I like everything. I've had the cider, the session. I've not had, there's a few of them that I've not had, but I've had most of what I've had, the pills. I've got no complaints with any of them. They are absolutely banging. I love what he's doing. I love everything about Hawkstone. I love everything about Jeremy Clarkson, the farm, everything. The support for the farmers. I love it. But I had to have a laugh and think to myself, right, he's brought out a nitro stout and here's obviously using Guinness as a little sort of like rivaling tool and things. And then when they got the beer, he's like, "Are you going to try and split the H?" And I thought, oh my God, I love it when a brewery brings out a stout and they call it and they make it their own. So if they make it their own, I'm not going to put it up against Guinness at all. But if you want to be put up against Guinness, then we will put you up against Guinness. Now, I can recommend a YouTube video to watch. It is a fellow YouTuber and it is at Chris's Beer Reviews. So it's at CHRISS as in Chris's Beer Reviews. He has done Hawkstone versus Guinness in about 9 minutes. It's an absolutely fantastic review, right? I really enjoyed it. I've watched it just to see if his take on it is how I feel, and basically it is. So yeah, so when you finish watching this waffle, go and see his review. I highly recommend that. Anyway, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Hawkstone out of the fridge and I'm going to pour it as per it says on the can. Bear with. So the thing is, right, I love it. I absolutely love it when, like I say, when someone brings out a nitro stout and makes it their own, like the Northern Monk and the Timothy Taylor Stout, that was their own. They didn't do anything to do with Guinness other than the saying they wanted to do it in a style that was first sort of come from London and then was made famous by an Irish company, but you know, made famous in Ireland, in Dublin, which is Guinness was the first one to do the nitro stout. And I think they did it to make the pour easier. So anyway, I've been waiting for the glass. So first and foremost, I ordered 24 of the Hawkstone Session Lagers, 6 of the normal premium lagers, and 12 of these. So the Guinness at the minute is £7.50 for 4, right? Which works out at £1.87 per can. Given the fact you've got to buy 20, this is for the Nitro Surge big cans, not the small cans. So that's better value for money. £25 for the cap. So you've got to basically, with a deduction of £2.66 and the £1.87, you've got to do about 32 cans for it to pay for the cap against Hawkstone. And the Guinness Nitro Surge cans are bigger. But here's the thing. I don't mind paying a little extra because, let's face it, Guinness is a bit of a... I love Guinness, so everything I say about Guinness, you've got to take on board. I'm being honest. I love Guinness. You know I love Guinness. I'll always say nothing will ever beat it at all, right? But Guinness is basically a macro beer in the nicest possible way of saying that. It is like it's mass produced, whereas this is more independent. This is more independent. I like the fact how they've tainted off that sort of like design on the can to make it look like a surgeon. Now, what I'm going to do is, I've learnt this beer a little bit. So here's the glass. Now, basically, to give the glass the chance, this is a brand new glass, and you always get sort of like releasing agents on the glass. So I have gave this a single regeneration of the glass, and then I have tested it afterwards and laced it with salt. I will show you now. So basically, if the salt sticks, the beer sticks. That's a really good indication of a clean glass. Wet your glass inside, throw the salt around. If your salt falls down, then your beer's not going to stick. If the salt sticks, the beer sticks. So both this and the Guinness glass has had that treatment. Now, 5 minutes in, I know this is going to be a long-winded, but it says here to shake it gently does it, crack it open, pour it hard and fast, pause, let it settle. Well, I've had 3 of these already, and I'm going to have 3 again tonight, right? So I shook it and I poured it. It settled pretty much instantly. There was no surging about it. That's what I really noticed with this. But then, in experimenting with it, you've got to shake it a little, probably harder than you think. So you're not going to really do this. You've probably got to give it a little bit of this, right? Now, it will fizz out when you've done it, but trust me, you need to sort of do this with it. Otherwise, you won't get that surge. So we've got the Hawkstone glass. I'm going to try and split the H, like what they're saying. You know, like Guinness say, split the G, split the H. Do you know what I mean? It's like let's use Guinness as a marketing tool. So you get a little bit of a fizz out of there. We're going to pour it hard, like it says. Now, look, let me show you. There's the pour. You can't say I've not poured that hard. The head looks really almost like quite thin. Now, that is settling. That is doing the surging a little bit better than it did the other day. But it's almost looking like just normal carbonation rising to the top of the glass. Where I've got this, my camera now, the light isn't giving it as much as it probably should do. But yes, basically that's settled now. That's done. So the very first thing that I thought when I had this was that settled really fast for a nitro surge beer, right? And it's almost settled almost like a normal carbonated beer. It doesn't look like a really super creamy head. So before I pour the Guinness to see how that pours in comparison, let's get into this. So it is nice and cold because it does tell you to serve it cold. It is very dark. Even holding it up to the light, you do get that little bit of bleed of red through like you do with Guinness. So before we even start this, I'm going to tell you this now. This is good. It's good. So anyway, so cheers, Hawkstone. Thanks for the speedy delivery. The glass took a little longer to come, but I think that was down to Yodel, not yourself. Let's get a slurp on this. Well, when you say let's split the H, I ain't got much slurp to split the H, have I? So I've got a great big... so here's the thing about splitting the H. Show me you splitting the H. Well, you need to give me a bigger can. You know, it's no good giving me a 440ml can. Why don't you... If you gave me like, what is it, 568, like a proper pint can, then you'd fill the pint glass up and I'd be able to split the H. So really, it's a bit of a fail for me, just basically on appearance. You've got the glass, the Hawkstone glass, you're asking me to split the H, and all I've got to do is probably one sip. But anyway, I'm going to have a bigger sip than that and see what we get. Cheers, everybody. So I've had 3 of these before, and I ain't going to pull no punches here. This is good. This is good. Now, since I've made the can wobble a lot more and twist around a lot more and shake it a lot more, that has poured better. It's creamier. It is better, right? So don't just give it a little shake like this and then crack it and pour it. You've got to aggravate it a bit. You know what I mean? So the nitro gases are in there. Now, what I like about it, I do like the non-widgeted nitro stouts. I really do. So for me, this has got great flavour. So let's say, for instance, right, Brewdog's Black Heart, it may not have been brewed in 1759, but is it better? They used Guinness as a marketing tool. Forged Irish Stout. They said something along the lines of, don't quote me, we're not here to compete, we're here to take over, or whatever. So Brewdog thought they were going to be the new Guinness. Forged Irish Stout thought they were going to be the new Guinness, right? Just about everybody. I've not really bothered with any of the others being the new. If they don't want to be the Guinness, then they'd stand alone. Brilliant. But them two in particular. But if you mix black hot, which I find is too astringent in the coffee, but people love it, so it's subjective, and Forged Irish Stout, which I think is too milky, a bit thin. If you mix black hot and Forged Irish Stout together, you settle off some of that coffee. It's a good mix, and you get something along this. So as I've been talking to you there, I'm getting a really nice dark chocolate, like you've had a chocolate bar, a dark chocolate bar, and it's left that silkiness on the back. The bitterness in this lingers on, and it's got a very nice roasty bitterness, like Guinness. It really does grab you at the back, and it's very pleasant. It's not astringent at all. It's a very pleasant. There's people that don't like that type of bitterness, but I like that type of bitterness. Gives you a very slight coffee. It has got an element of milkiness into it as well. It's just a little bit thin on the body. I think what would benefit from this is putting, I mean, I don't know, but just by what I'm thinking, putting more nitrogen into this beer. But it is really good. I mean, I'll be honest with you, regardless of Hawkstone being Jeremy Clarkson's thing, and all the laughs and the jokes and everything else that goes around it with all the advertising, Hawkstone Brewery is producing some fabulous beer, right? Absolutely fabulous. It's all 100% British ingredients, which is absolutely brilliant. The roasty taste in that is lovely. The coffee taste in that is a nice coffee. It's very subtle, dark chocolate, smooth, clean. It is more like it's not got any kind of like carbonate. It has got that nitrogen sort of carbonation, if you know what I mean. But it almost tastes like a stout, a dark stout that you've poured on a hand pull, if you know what I mean, without the nitrogen. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Really, I love it. I love it. I think it'd be brilliant if it comes out in 4-packs in the supermarket, because at the minute I feel sorry for. I've spoken to a few people and said I can't really afford it. I'm actually going to send a couple of these out. It's the reason I bought 12, so I could share the love. But like, there's people who can't afford to buy 12 of these, you know, at $2.66 a can. So I'm hoping it comes into the supermarkets, or they sell it as a 4-pack, or they start sending it out to places like Dexter and Jones and Rainville stores and Curators of Craft and all that sort of thing. It says a limited edition. I want it to carry on. Right, anyway, let's get the daddy out. Now, the first thing we look, and the reason I call it the daddy is, you know what I'm saying? Right. Now, okay, admittedly, Guinness do Guinness draft in 440ml cans like this. But basically, if we're talking about competing against Guinness for price-wise, and I don't normally do budget things on this channel, but we're talking about, there's the little can that don't fill the glass, that don't give you enough to do a tiny sip to split the H, and here's the Guinness can. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Right? So this is 4.2, this is 4.1, right? So that's what we get, right? That's what we get. So let's get the Guinness out now, and let's see what that gives. So I've got a nice clean Guinness glass. I've done the same with this, tested on the salt. So this is going to give the best result. I mean, sometimes Guinness is a bit fussy. Sometimes I can have super clean glasses, right? And I can get absolute beautiful cream lacing all the way down. Then the next time I have super clean glasses, and I don't know what it is. Right, so let's get this up. Let's get this pouring. Right, now you can see that surging. Now the other thing, right, everybody that sees these nitro stouts will email me or message me on Instagram or comment at YouTube try that stout through the nitro surge cap, right? And that's what they say. Pour this to the top of the hop on the first pour. You get 30 seconds with this. I've banged on about that lows. Nice and steady so you don't get the bubbles. Now, let's just look at the difference here. Let's just look at the difference here. Look at that surging. Now, oh my God. I'm hoping that's just because it's really, really cold and not like the glass has got any cold. Because I'm seeing that internal. It may be because there's some salt. Look how long that's. Look at what that's doing. Look there. Look at it. You don't get none of that from that Hawkstone, right? So, I'm hoping that is because it's really, really, really cold. So I don't want any bad looking Guinness. Right, so we're going to leave that to settle for about a minute because that's what Guinness takes. There is that much nitro gas in there. That's why you get the cream. But what I'm going to do is, with this video, I'm going to put the Hawkstone, once we've done the beer battle a bit, I'm going to put the Hawkstone through the cap, but I'm also going to put it through the physics machine that is hiding behind the Hawkstone there. So once we've drank this Guinness, compared it with the Hawkstone, see who wins, see the comparison, I am then going to go up and swill the cap out, which I'll edit into the video. I'm going to do the Hawkstone through the cap, and then I'm going to do the Hawkstone through the physics machine, because that way I have a nice Friday night down here drinking some seriously good stout, and also you don't have to watch me do the individual videos. You can hang around, you can fast forward the waffle, get to the bit you want to see. Right, so anyway, that has settled, and I've got to actually say that, like, I'm not that pleased with my glass there for some reason. I might have left a little bit of salt residue in there, but there you go, it is what it is. Right, so I'm going to just pour that in there. I say it is what it is. I'm the biggest advocate of making sure everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, here I am with a... Right, so there it is. We'll let that settle, because that looks like it's really taking a long while to settle in that glass. So anyway, back to Hawkstone. Take this off. So, right, let's carry on doing the Hawkstone whilst I'm waiting for the Guinness to settle. It is absolutely fabulous. It's a really lovely stout. It's got nice aromas. The chocolate taste in this is quite forward for me. Janie would like this. My wife, who loves chocolate stouts and things like that, would love this. However, it's the bitterness. This, I've got to say, hand on heart, as a Guinness fan, hand on heart, this is the closest thing that anybody's ever done to getting close to Guinness. Now, I've got a few facts about Guinness whilst this settles even more. So Guinness, right, so from grain, which they sort themselves, their own barley is sorted themselves, right, from grain in the ground to the kegs leaving the gates, there's over 280 quality checks, right? So if anybody that says that, like, oh, it's just an easy peasy thing to make, it ain't, right? Guinness roast their own barley, but it's unmalted barley, right? So they roast it, and they roast it at exactly 232 degrees, right? 2% higher, and it could set fire. 2% lower, and it won't give the dark chocolate, earthy, bittering flavours, right? So the colour comes from the roasted, unmalted barley, as well as them bittery, sort of dark chocolatey, bittery type of flavours. Now, when it comes to the hops, Guinness only use hops for bittering in the kettle. That's it, just for the bittering, right? Now, the secrets, for me, the yeast strain is unmatchable. The water is unmatchable. Stout water, their own water, right? And their own roasted barley that they roast on site. I think they buy in the malted barley that they put in, but basically the dark malt, the dark roasted barley gives it that astringency, sort of nice astringency bitter flavour that not a lot of people like, but a lot of people love. And this is matching that. It is. Right, so I'm going to have 2 more of these so I can get this down me. Right, Guinness. Come on, my child. So the Guinness is settled. It's looking good. It's looking nice and black in there. It's looking nice. I'm going to have a swig of this, try and split the G, originally invented by Guinness, and see what we get. Cheers, everybody. Oh, well, I more than split the G. I underlined it. Now, absolutely 100% straight away, right? Straight away, without shadow of a doubt, that the mouthfeel, the creaminess, the tenderness of the Guinness is absolutely phenomenal. I'll be back in a second, having washed out the Hawkstone glass and the nitro surge cap, to pour the Hawkstone the same way as I've just done there. I'll be back in a second. See, told you it won't be long. Right, so anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get another Hawkstone out the fridge, because I can. Now, this is going to show you a little bit of a difference, right? Because what I'm going to do is, now, even though I've been gone literally a minute, right? I could leave that there for 10 minutes. That head will never go because of the tight nitrogen bubbles in there. Right, just have another sip out. No, absolutely fantastic. Oh my God. That's still, I have had literally 14% imperial barrel aged stout that like blew my mind. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to just have a Guinness, like, because I need something that I can just drink. And even after that, I'll drink a Guinness and still think, right, banging. Right, so what we're going to do with this now, right, you need to, even though it's going through in the nitro surge cap, trust me, you need to aggravate this. A little shake. I mean, don't get me wrong, you ain't got to shake it like a cocktail, but it does need a bit of help with because I don't think there's that much stout, that much gas in here. Right, so I'm going to pour this in one pour because it don't need a two pour. Now you can actually see, look, you can see it surging now. Now, honestly, if I didn't shake that, I did this the other night, right? And I thought, I can't see the surger going through it. Is the cap working? I doubted the cap, but what it was is you need to give the can a help. You really do. The Hawkstone can needs a help. Now look at the difference with that now. That is definitely doing a more Guinness-like surge, but it needed a helping hand, right? And also what I like about it is you can actually see the same ruby red tinge. I don't know whether you can see on the camera, but I can see the same ruby red tinge as you get with Guinness. Now, I don't care what anybody says. I am an honest man, right? And literally, Guinness, Guinness will always win for me with any of the ones that have tried to beat it, right? So I'll be genuinely honest with this review that I'm doing, right? So, and if I thought this was better than Guinness, I would tell you it's better than Guinness, right? So the other nitro stout I've had recently is nothing like Guinness. It's far removed. It's its own stout. Thornbridge have just brought one out that's coming in the December beer club. I'm looking forward to that. Right, now for me, Guinness has given this a helping hand, right? Because that is definitely a more compact and tight and creamy head. So let's get into this. It's settled now. It doesn't take, Hawkstone Black does not take long to settle. Let's get into this, right? I know this is a waffle, but it's worth it because I want you to enjoy this beer, but get the best out of it. And a quick that and then do it, you won't get the best out of it. Cheers. You see what I mean? It's even giving me a little moustache. That is good. That is, I ain't denying for one I can't fault that in any way, apart from it could just do with a little bit more, I reckon, nitrogen gas in there, or nitrogen in there. Is it gas? I don't even know. Nitrogen. Yeah, it is. The gas, it's a gas. It's a finer bubble than the CO2 gas. But I mean, look at the difference. So look at the difference with that. But that is what it needed the Guinness cap to do that. It can't do that by itself out the can. The Guinness draft can do it because it's got a widget. So this might even benefit from having a widget, the Hawkstone can, because I just don't think it's got enough about it in the can to really produce the cream out there. To really produce it, you've got to really aggravate it. So if you're pouring it out of a can, if you've not got the Guinness cap and you've not got a physics machine, you pour it out of the can, it does spit a little bit when you open it, but give it a good shake, because it really needs it. But the difference is absolutely unbelievable. Look, you start to see each sip now. Right, so from that, it's a bit creamier, and although it looks a lot creamier, it's still got a very thin mouthfeel compared to Guinness. But by Christ, it's close. But this has got, there's something about this that's unmatchable. And do you know what I think it is? Seriously, I think it's the yeast and the water. Because recently, with me drinking certain different types of beers, I've learned from research and things that yeast is there to ferment, right? Without yeast, there's no beer, right? A little bit without farmers, there's no beer, because we won't have the barley and all that sort of stuff. So here's cheers to all the the British farmers out there, and all the farmers, but the British farmers, right? I'm not getting on that bandwagon which is going on, but all I'm saying is I've recently really appreciated how hard farming is since I've been watching Clarkson's Farm and all that. Regardless of all the politics around it, I'm not here to talk about it. I don't even comment about them things in the thing, because I just won't rise to it. But basically, I think these have got the yeast. So without yeast, there's no beer. Belgian beers taste different to German beers because it's Belgian yeast, German yeast. You can literally, I reckon you could put a German beer in front of me and a Belgian beer in front of me, and probably in front of most people that like beer and that drink all types of beer. And you can pick out a Belgian beer over a German beer simply because of the yeast taste. Now beers, every beers, even the craft beers and everything else, there is an element of yeast flavour in there. I think as well, like Thornbridge's beer that's brewed on the Burton Union system is showing yeast flavours in there. There's fruity flavours in their beers on that Burton Union system that you just don't get from like hops or malts. There's something there. Here in Guinness, there's something special in this beer that's unmatchable. Unmatchable. It's just, there is milky chocolate. I mean, there's a lot of people that taste Guinness and can't get the flavours out of it. They just can't. They will say, oh, it just tastes. But you've got to really appreciate what it is. I've got like real nice chocolate, milky chocolate taste out of that. In fact, each time I drink Guinness, I get different flavours. Depending on the temperature I drink it at, I get different flavours. Guinness is sold by the millions and millions and millions of pints for a reason. It is the safety beer, as John Garrett said in his video today. I'm not quoting him. It's probably not the safety beer. It's like if you go to a pub and there's no beer on and they've got Guinness on, and it's a go-to beer. It is a safe beer. I have recently been drinking Guinness a lot at my local curry house, and they do what I think is the best pint of Guinness in Leicester, and that's even over or in matching to Duffy's Bar in Leicester, and that's saying something because they do a good pint. And I love this with a curry, even better than Cobra, because I used to love Cobra with a curry. But this, But yeah, there's something about Guinness that's absolutely unmatchable. Beautiful, that is. Lovely, chocolatey flavours, nice, mellow, astringent bitterness. Really silky, smooth, delicate, wonderful. Right, Hawkstone. Banging. Just banging. It's a brilliant stout. It's probably got, there's more flavour hitting you in the face from this than this. And that's what Chris said. Chris's beer reviews, he said that there's probably more aroma and more flavour hitting you in the face with this. But Guinness has just got that unmatchable part to it. But honestly, Hawkstone Black, absolutely fantastic. One of the best nitro stouts that I've had that's come anywhere near rivaling Guinness. It's the closest thing to Guinness that I have tasted. It leaves you with, now I've got that lingering at the back, it leaves you with a similar sort of lingering. The roast in this, the roasted flavours in this is fantastic. You know, the silkiness in this is good, but the mouthfeel is a bit lacking. It's just not got that cream. But it's certainly keeping hold of the cream, isn't it? Dark chocolate, when I've just swigged that down, I'm getting a really nice dark chocolate. The malts they've used in this is absolute quality. You know, you're getting chocolate malts like the lovely coffee flavors. It's like not like astringent, horrible coffee flavors. It's like a really good quality coffee flavor. You know, whatever they've done to produce this, they've done a frigging good job. But it's not a hype. It's not a hype beer at all. It is. Look, so it is great. And again, no real hop presence, just bitter in. Guinness. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's like, to be honest with you, it's like, yeah, it's good. It's good. For me, Guinness wins always. And I'm not saying always because I like Guinness and I'm not going to be, it's not going to be beat or whatever. But Guinness win because there's just something in there that nobody can get, nobody can match. Everybody tries, not everybody that's doing this, like Hawkstone, trying to take over Guinness, if you know what I mean, trying to make something better than Guinness, right? There's something in Guinness that nobody knows about. Nobody knows about the yeast strain. Nobody knows what the water they use. To be honest with you, they say European hops, but nobody even knows what that is. You know, they don't know how they brew it. I mean, the temperature control, the way they roast the barley at that 232 degrees. You know, and the quality control is unbelievable with Guinness. But I've got to say, I think it's an Irish brewer that's brewed this. If you watch Simon, the Real Ale Craft Beer as well, he was the first person to taste this. It's a great video, that is, when he went to Hawkstone Brewery. But yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'll be back in a second. I'm going to go and swill the glass out and we'll put it through the fizzics machine. I'll be back in a second. Boom, back. So, as you would expect, that's 3 beers down. So I am feeling the effect, even though it's like only a 4.2% beer. I'm feeling the effect, but it's Friday night and I wanted to do this all in one hit. Anyway, waffling because of the beer. Right, so look, I've got the Spencer Arm sticker on the fizzics machine. So here's the fizzics machine. Absolutely wonderful. Or even the fizzics, not the physics machine. So we're going to put the Hawkstone Stout through the fizzics machine and see what that does. Now, the only thing with this is 440ml can will run out way before it fills the glass, even with the amazing nitro surge power of the fizzics machine. Right, so trust me, you've got to give this with a can. You can't you can't not, right? Okay. And literally, even when you do give it this, and I'll show you, I'll open it live, right? You don't get much of a fizz out of it, but it activates the can. It's literally a little fizz. That was quite a big fizz, but it activates the can. Now, this is take 2 because the first one, I poured it this way with the nozzle going backwards, which is the surge, and it didn't seem to be doing anything. Right, so this is going to spit out now. And I had to question myself. I thought, have I done that the right way? I will show you a bit of an outtake at the end. Look at that. I don't know whether it was the light. Look at that. Oh my days. Oh, now we're talking. Look at that. The physics machine strikes. Now, when I use the Guinness Nitro Surge Cap, which is designed for Guinness, right? But look, it's still settling very fast though. When I done that, I don't think I shook the can quite as vigorously as I did there. So what I'm going to say to you is, you've got to shake the can pretty vigorously. Let me know. I take one for the teammate. Look, shake it gently. Does it? Nah. Ignore that. Oh, right. So here's take 1, which I messed up, and I'll show you in a minute. Right, and then I've got take 2 in here. It's not a problem because I'm watching some friends in a minute do some beer reviews live. So, right, wow. So here we go. This is why I thought it was going a bit wrong. Here's take 1. I put it, well, I've actually poured it out this into a Guinness glass. I thought I don't want to waste it. So look, there's take 1, and I thought I'm pouring it the wrong way. Look at take 2. So I wasn't pouring it the wrong way, but look at what the physics machine's done to that, right? And I can really see that red tinge. Right, cheers everybody. Right. I would argue the fact that that even looks better than what Jeremy pours in his own pub. That's a cracking stout. That really is. Other than Guinness, that's the best nitro stout I've had. That actually, it's almost like great bitterness, quality chocolate, quality dark chocolate taste, quality coffee taste, and a reasonable mouthfeel. That's the only thing that lets it down. That's the only thing that lets it down. It's very thin mouthfeel compared to Guinness. If it had the same mouthfeel as Guinness, this would be absolutely 100% bang on. Yeah, I've got to, honestly, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off, because regardless of Jeremy being one of the most like popular blokes in the country, he's passionate about what he does. I can see that. I see it in someone's eyes. He's passionate about what he does, and he's producing some great beer. He's got a great brewer, and yeah, it's fantastic. It really is unfaultable. Right, I'm going. You've put up with me enough. So a big shout out to Jeremy Clarkson and all the staff at Hawkstone, the brewers and everything. Absolutely fantastic. You have produced something that's like, you've tried to rival Guinness. You've had a laugh about it. Cheers, everybody. And make sure you listen to ALN Radio on Mixcloud. You can just go to alnradio.co.uk/live and you will get it straight away. It's so good. There's so many features on there. But if you download the app, you can pick out all the different shows and listen to them individually. I'm going to be listening to the Patriot Lockdown Bars 80s Hour tomorrow night. That'll be great. Cool. I feel like I've had a beer. Cheers, everybody.